Brighton 3, Newcastle United 0. Now I know what you're thinking. It's surely the end of Steve. It's surely after 2 wins and 20 and our worst run of form since 1989. 17th in the league, 30 games played, 28 points. Another gutless performance. 35% possession, not one shot on target in 90 minutes, beaten 3-0. Could have been 5 or 6, it wouldn't have flattered them. And the next morning you're waking up and you're thinking, well, surely. I've woke up myself about 10 o'clock this morning, sharpish, and I'm thinking myself, well, Steve's out of the job here, he's got to be gone. First thing I do is go on my phone, and literally 30 seconds phone beep, Sky Sports. Mike asked you to stick with Steve Bruce. And that's not good enough. We need an explanation as to why he thinks that Steve Bruce should still be in that job and what his reasonings are to articulate that decision. Have some integrity. Let's find out why you think Steve Bruce should be in that job still. Don't just come out with a brief statement with 9 games to go, going into an international break, and now Steve's going to be let loose to prepare for the Tottenham game. I mean, if you want to get these fixtures up, so if that's what Brighton are doing, to us, and doing to Steve's beloved tactics, then what are Tottenham going to do on the 4th of April at 2:05? What do you think they're going to do? You tell me. Going to tear us to bits, aren't they? So then go to Burnley after that. West Ham at home, high flying, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester City, and Fulham away. It's extremely hard to say in any universe how we possibly stay up from this position. The manager in Steve, if he had any decency or shred of self-respect now, he would go. He'd walk. He'd say, you know what? I care about the club. I'm a fan of the club. The situation is not going to change. I'm not good enough. That's it. The problem is now is that Steve Bruce has been put before what's best for the fans, what's best for the football club once again. Because these illogical decisions only harm one asset, and that's the fans. Because we know the players don't give a fuck. We saw that last night. That performance last night, I'm 21-year-old, and that's the worst performance I've ever seen in my entire life. The worst performance I've ever seen from my club, or any club, to be honest with you, in that situation. It was disgusting. It lacked pride, it lacked heart, it lacked courage. It was everything against what the club should be about, and is about, and always has been about until the last 10 years. We didn't look like we wanted to be there. We didn't look like there was a plan. There was no urgency. There was players jumping out of the way, tackles. There was no real make-up at how to get after Brighton, how to stop Brighton's distribution of passes in the final third, how to break up play in the midfield, how to stop the interchange. There was none of that. So it begs the question for me, what you've been doing for the last 8 days? You know, you've had 8 days to prepare and to come up with a plan for Brighton, our biggest game in recent history. You've had 8 days, and that's the best you can come up with. And it's not about the fact about losing the game and even losing 3-0. It's the manner of how they've lost, how they've gone about the job. It was truly, truly repulsing. The players should be ashamed. Any person in that club that had any part of last night's performance should be hanging their head in shame. You shamed the fan base last night. You shamed the badge. You were disgraced, a lot of you. For me, I'm going to be just genuinely honest here, what I think. If you want my honest opinion on 21 years, and I've seen 2 relegations myself, of where this is going to end up. And I think, to be honest with you, Tottenham unbeatable. Not got loads to play for, apart from a Carabao Cup final, which obviously is illegal late. You've just been knocked out of Europe. Do you know what I mean? Confidence ain't the best. So it's a game where you could, theoretically, if you was a Brighton or Fulham, you'd be targeting Tottenham, wouldn't you? Going, yeah, we can beat these. But we all know that's not what we're going to be doing. It'd be 5 behind the back. It'd be the diamond shape, and it'll be the incredibly negative Jeff. Who thought to bring Jeff Hendrick on last night after 37 minutes when Aiden went off? You lose a defensive midfielder. You're 1-0 down, and 0-0, at the time. And this is the time where sure you're going to need to step up and try and win the game. We have to be winning that game, and he's playing for a point. He's playing not to lose, strictly not to lose. If you want to win that game last night, bring Sean Longstaff on, not Jeff Hendrick. You bring on the offensive minded midfielder, the midfielder with legs that can get about, because that's what you need to beat Brighton. You need legs in midfield because they're quick on the ball, the quick minded and the quick movers of the ball, of the ball. So, glory notes always detail. This club always has that ability, doesn't it, to not do what anyone else would do. It's almost like Steve Bruce is genuinely still in that job now to wind the fans up, because that's the only logical explanation you can. And that's not logical, I know, but it's the only thing you could possibly think of to wind Mike Ashley, Lee Charnley and Keith Bishop, the three of them, because it's not just one, three of them. I've sat there and come to the conclusion that he's the best man for the job, and what's best for Newcastle United is to have Steve Bruce remain in charge. It's utter lunacy even in Steve Bruce's world. I don't think Steve Bruce could actually believe it himself. At any other club, he'd have been gone after Brentford. At any other club, he'd have been gone by Sheffield United. And I think at any other club, this wouldn't even be a question now, even in the media in the Premier League. This media narrative of Paul, Ronnie Cray, look-alike, I've been sniffing too much Snow Merson, coming out with his opinions of we still live in the David Ginola, Shearer and Ferdinand era. They're just showing how thick you really are, don't you, you little thick four-eyed moron. I wasn't even alive in 1996, and over half the fan base wasn't alive, and at least half the fan base weren't alive enough to remember it anyway, even if they were. It was 25 years ago, Paul. We don't live in that era anymore. Most of us weren't alive. Most of us don't remember it. And you know what I mean? It's 25 years ago. The way I look at it is when Everton appointed Sam Allardyce, right? When they were 17th in the league, right? And Allardyce they finished 8th, 17-18 season, Everton, right? And they sacked him because they didn't like the style of football. Bit of a harsh reason, in fact he's taught you 9 places up the league, but when Everton said it, it's okay. It's alright, there's no media questioning or hammering it at all. Definitely no derogatory, delusional expectations. And Everton are a fan base who do demand to be in the top 6 or in and around it religiously. And you could argue historically, when the Premier League era, Newcastle have gone far further than Everton ever have. We've qualified for the Champions League on 4 occasions. They've only got in there once and bottled it against Villarreal. Do you know what I mean? So that's by the by. When West Ham hounded Moyes out and they've gotten back, but when they hounded him out and Allardyce, when they hounded who was the manager they had before? It wasn't Pellegrini, whoever it was. So when they've asked for these managers to be sacked, not words said about West Ham. West Ham, a club who've won significantly less than Newcastle historically. So this myth again, Newcastle never won anything. Well, we've won an awful lot more than West Ham ever have. Bigger club than West Ham. We demand significantly a lot less. Do you know what I mean? I mean, our fans are literally they're demanding the expectations and not to get relegated. That's literally the demands and the expectations. It's apathy. It's sad. It's cruel. It's a fan base who just want hope and just want to enjoy the team and have pride in watching the team. It's not even about winning. It's not about winning, to be honest with you, and it never has been, because we're never, especially in my lifetime, it's never been about winning. But it's about having pride in your club. It's about having an enjoyment in watching your team and the product, and having a ship that's been. No, you're not always going to see eye to eye with the manager of your club. You're not always going to see eye to eye with the ownership and decisions they make. But you can at least always see their thinking behind it, or the idea behind doing that. Do you know what I mean? When Keegan sold Andy Cole to Man United for Keith Gillespie back in the day, and bought it, and I had to go on the steps outside the ground and explain. He came out and he explained his reasons for making it, and you could understand his reasonings for making that decision, the decision making process. With Steve Bruce, you can't even do that, and you know what I mean, and. Yeah, it is what it is. It's sad anyway, but I thought I'd have a little tune one this morning before taking mine off for the day, because it really winds me up. If Steve Bruce had any decency, had any self-respect, he'd resign from the club right now. He's a coward, as they said. on the outside of the ground last night. He's a complete coward, and we're gonna get relegated. Hope you're very proud, Steve, because you're gonna walk around the North East for the rest of your life after this, being known as the man who failed at Sunderland, and then even more significantly, took over the years of his hometown club, relegated them within 18 months, and wouldn't resign because it was more about you and more about your bank balance than it was about Newcastle United and the city and the region. So stay proud, Steve.